What's up guys, Houndish here, and today we are jumping back in with more Destiny 2 updates. Safe to say we get many of these, of course, and the updates today will be pretty future-facing, so Bungie jump in and talk about some of their planned changes to power deltas. There have been concerns about those in the community, so they try and settle some of those concerns a little bit. We'll speak about what they've said, and there's conversation about additional updates coming soon. Bungie, of course, promised the roadmap, which we are still waiting on, but we'll discuss some of what we can expect between now and Renegades. Otherwise, there are additional live game updates, disabled perks, incoming fixes. We'll speak about some mods that we'll be able to get access to in upcoming event content as well, that do a few interesting things in terms of set bonuses, and there are a handful of other things to discuss today. So, as always guys, I hope you find the video interesting, and if you do, a rating really helps me out on the channel, but otherwise, now let's get into it. A few quick updates here initially. Bungie have said to address player feedback over Crucible balance, we've temporarily disabled the Threadling Proliferation artifact perk in PvP, and they'll provide more details when available. You'll have to let me know what the feedback was around that one if you know in the comment section, although some folks have said it's still actually working despite Bungie disabling it. Anyway, otherwise this week we got double bonus focus. And the bonus focus is so doubled that Bungie say it twice here, it guarantees your first bonus focus will drop twice in portal activities. I totally read this wrong in the reset video yesterday. It's not bonus engrams, but it's the specific feature drop from a given activity, and it's once per day and not every single completion, so that's worth keeping in mind. Additionally, players have said it's kind of broken and has a chance to sometimes work multiple times, although I don't have much experience of that just yet. Other updates in a moment, although players have been discussing the roadmap that Bungie promised and when we might get it. In the live stream, DMG said the roadmap is focusing on between now and Renegades. Separately in that stream, Bungie also spoke about some of their goals for system changes in Renegades that would affect things like weekly conquests, power leveling, additional rewards and things like that, which do sound much better than what we currently have. In terms of a roadmap for between now and Renegades though, I'm not entirely sure what Bungie can really talk about, I guess, unless they do have a series of bigger changes planned. Content-wise, of course, Exotic Mission is next week, alongside a sandbox update. Then, the next thing is Festival of the Lost in the last couple of weeks of October, I believe. One of the most interesting things about Festival is that it will have a new 6-player activity, as well as a PvP mode of some sort, which is good because we didn't see that for Solstice, so has the potential to be fun. It'll be nice to play a 6-player seasonal style activity, potentially. We'll have to see exactly how it pans out. Otherwise, funky looking weapons like these. And there's a mod here that I believe is going to be linked to Festival. These mods actually exist for every set bonus in the game. They're called costume mods, but they relate to a specific set bonus. So there's costume accretion here, and it says converts this armor to the accretion armor set, reducing the requirements for its set bonus perks by 1. Plus it will count towards relevant reward score multipliers and the new gear bonus. But if it's reducing the requirements for the set bonus perks by 1, does that mean it would allow us to potentially run a 2-piece bonus as well as an additional bonus from another set? I'm not entirely sure. Kind of sounds like it. I guess that would be the only real benefit of it. We'll have to wait and see, but certainly looks like it's going to allow us to use more set bonuses than what we can do as standard for the duration of Festival. Otherwise, beyond that, of course, we get this Call to Arms end of season type event, which looks like it will have a bunch of daily bonuses for rewards and accelerated progression. And if I were Bungie at this point, I would focus on just making the upcoming events as rewarding and fun as possible. Throw the rulebook out of the window in terms of gear tiering and score the amount of power we earn, just make it incredibly rewarding. And otherwise, instead of iterating on, almost weekly portal changes or small adjustments to power leveling and stuff, I would just bank all of that stuff for Renegades and make sure that those changes land well for the next expansion. That's kind of the bigger deal at this point. Because until that point of time, outside of things like Festival, I think Bungie are going to struggle to really engage players in a significant way. So I don't think they should waste too many resources on bigger changes that might not be noticed by that many players. That's just my opinion though. Otherwise, there are at least a couple of pieces of event content for a couple of weeks at a time, which despite the state of the game right now, definitely have the potential to get players interested. They just have to be very rewarding. So in terms of the live game, if I were Bungie, that would be my current focus. Otherwise, following Bungie banning a bunch of players, or should I say limiting access to Destiny 2 in a bunch of regions, Bungie have continued to not really answer the question as to why this has happened specifically, but you can see here somebody asked what law is preventing the game from functioning, which specific countries are affected, and Bungie once again respond, Destiny services are not available where access is restricted by law. So still a non-answer really, but something that won't do Bungie any favours. Steam are issuing full refunds for Edge of Fate and Year of Prophecy to all players who currently are blocked, and that's partially because there is no prior warning, so I think that is Steam's policy to automatically refund because access to the content is no longer available. Bungie are going to lose a lot of money on that one. Pretty crazy. Not that I've played it yet, it would appear the epic raid actually was relatively successful, at least in contrast to how things are with most of the game right now. Here's a high detailed shot of the armor for the epic raid with the updated shader essentially in terms of the visuals at least. Those are also epic raid weapons, which all fit into the theme of the raid, but one of the unexpected things is that Bungie actually used an area that was originally previewed in this cinematic here. Bungie did actually use this, I believe, in Season of Undying, as some players pointed out, but it was leaked all the way back in D1, where it was assumed to be part of the Vex Void DLC, which was actually a scrapped release. Then, according to concept art, it turns out this was originally part of the Pyramidion. We got Pyramidion as a strike in D2, but it was originally conceived and partially built as a raid on Mars in Destiny 1. So the intention for it was to be used in various different places, originally part of a raid, also shown off in a cinematic. That cinematic was repurposed for a season of Destiny 2. And then the final release of this actual space in the game is for the final boss of the epic raid. So really interesting to finally see it, and safe to say this area has an insane development history really. Gotta say I really enjoy looking at things like this. Always very interesting. Some other updates here. There was a lot of conversation regarding power deltas following from the TWID last week, where Bungie are essentially fixing deltas to particular difficulties and power thresholds. Cheese Forever commented on this and said Bungie want us to delete our powerful gear to farm easier under the new proposed mandatory delta system, but if I'm always minus 30, I will not need power beyond 470. As each additional power will cause me and my team to add more modifiers and difficulty for no gain in loot quality, which is a good point. And it adds, as you get to 470, it'll forever feel like you have 3 modifiers whether you add any or not. But Bungie say, talking through feedback with the team, this is from DMG, sorry, folks on the dev team said when players are at 550 power, they can do a Grandmaster with no modifiers to get tier 5, or they can run Master with just a few, and the Master match-made content will get them tier 5 drops additionally. But of course that only relates to max level players, which obviously there are very, very few of. But the devs add, you'll also no longer be getting scores adjusted for fireteam power at all. Right now, if you get pulled up, we apply a slight downward pressure on your score so that you always get a score that is in your range. And if you're playing content that's good for you, but too low for your friend, you won't earn a good reward. So it's essentially difficult to play content that suits a fireteam of players that are at different power levels. But with the planned changes, that's gone, since we're now under power deltas. So you can power level your friends can play higher level with you and still get good loot, and it should be a generally smoother experience. DMG also asked the question, do minus 30 delta activities right now feel sweaty? And he asks for specific examples of pieces of content that feel bad at minus 30. He also says, to note, minus 30 is only ultimatum. Some folks may never push deeper into that difficulty and instead stick to Grandmaster and continue to get good rewards. But additionally, they say, we've been seeing quite a bit of feedback from players that they must be at minus 60 or more to continue leveling and receiving rewards. So this initial change is meant to help that, and he says they've seen good feedback from early playtests. Less bullets Bungie enemies, easier to select various modifiers without the fear of pushing the delta too far. But DMG also recognises the system is too complex for the majority of players to understand what modifiers they need while balancing the deltas. And I think that's going to continue to be the case with this sort of portal modifier system and the different power thresholds as they stand right now. So as I said last week, we'll just have to see how it plays out in the game. It's hard to really get an idea without actually playing it, but part of the confusion is that because Bungie keep adding these updates and moving the goalposts and rearranging things, every time players perhaps start to understand how a system is working, the behavior of the system changes either because their level has changed or because Bungie have actually changed how the system works. And that's a hugely important piece of feedback because, sure, it's confusing if you're a new player, but it's also confusing to established players who've been here for years. Understanding rewards and power right now is like looking at a complicated spreadsheet as opposed to what most players want to do, which is turn the game on, play a thing, have fun with the thing, and get a reward, and know what kind of reward they're likely to get. The current system tries way too hard, so it's honestly not surprising that players find it difficult to understand. For today though, guys, that's what we have to speak about, so share your thoughts in the comment section as always. I'll keep you up to date if we do get any further info on roadmaps or whatever it may be, so keep it locked and loaded here on the channel, hit subscribe if you want to get those updates. Give me your thoughts below, and if you enjoyed the video, a rating really does help us out as well. Otherwise though, cheers for watching, and I hope you guys have an awesome day.